Hello, my loves, and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you about food anxiety in cats. Now, this is something that I've got a lot of experience with my ex-feral Leo, and I wanted to talk to you about 5 top tips that I have learned and continue to use to help him to eat, whether that's a bite, a mouthful, or to clear his plate of food. So I wanted to share them with you today. So if you haven't already subscribed to the Naturally Cats YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button along with the bell to get notifications of my new releases so you can help your cat with every video. So let's dive in. So let me just share first of all that I've dealt with feline anorexia with Leo. Didn't even know it was such a thing. I've worked with cats for 20 years. I had no idea what that was. And a couple of years after he came to live with me, he wouldn't eat his food. I didn't realize just quite how anxious or quite how much anxiety played a role in his day-to-day. And he ended up being hospitalised at the vets because he wouldn't eat anything. So needless to say, since then, which is a couple of years ago now, him and eating is a tension point. You know, it creates friction anxiety in me because I'm like, oh, is he going to eat? And oh, why hasn't he eaten? And I hold my breath and my stomach's all churny and I get quite stressed because he needs to eat, right? I don't want to experience the trauma that we had a few years ago of, vet visits and, it was just horrendous. So I give you that because I want you to know that I'm speaking from a place of experience, sadly, when I talk to you about food anxiety in cats. And what we're going to cover in this video isn't perhaps traditional. I'm not going to talk to you about the cat. I'm actually going to talk to you about you because you have no idea just how much you, i.e. we influence our cats. So I'm literally experiencing this with Leo at the moment. And that's why I felt drawn to the video because I do believe it's best to speak from experience. So the first top tip I'm going to share with you is about communicating. And actually, this may sound quite straightforward or quite almost like blasé, but I find it makes a huge difference when I speak to Leo and say to him, like, verbalize and say, buddy, I need you to eat this plate of food, or I'd love for you to have some of this plate of food or platter or whatever you serve the cat's food in, bowl. I'd love for you to eat some of this. It's important for you to have nutrients in your body and for all the systems and processes to work for you to have some fuel. So if you can, I would really appreciate it if you could have a little bite to eat. And by doing that, it's almost sort of setting the tone and the intention for the experience, which is him eating. And saying, this is important, buddy. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just putting the plate of food down and getting super stressed and angry that he hasn't eaten, him walking away, me screaming and shouting in a different room or whatever it is, it's about saying, like, this is important for both of us, and using that using your voice so that you're shifting the vocal energy from your throat chakra, right? And it's not all kind of pushed and buried down. So communicating is the first top tip I would share. The second, like I just alluded to, is your energy, like your vibe. When I prepare a plate of food, I have to catch myself because there are times when I'm thinking, which, thoughts are the language of the brain, but thoughts are energy. I'm thinking he's not going to eat it. What's the point in making it? Just another plate where he's not going to eat it, another plate where I'm going to have to hand feed him. I've tried plates, I've tried bowls, I've tried platters, I've tried lino, I've tried everything. Like, what is going on? Why won't he eat? I'm really frustrated. I'm really angry. And for goodness sake, this is a waste of time and money. That's all going into his food. Even if I'm just like unsealing the packet or pouch or whatever it is, using a fork, putting it on the plate, that's my energy. That's coming out of me, right? And that's going into his food. Now, would you want to eat something where someone had basically put a load of anger into it or frustration into it? It's going to taste different, and people say like it's cooked with love, and they can taste it, they can feel it because it's got that energy infused in the food. So if you need to take a step away, take a step away. I have done this many times when I'm preparing his plate or his bowl, platter, whatever. Let's just say plate. And I've got to kind of catch myself and step away because I'm like, I don't want to put that in his food. I'm fearful because he's not eating very well or he doesn't seem to have a healthy appetite. I don't want to put my fear into his food. So I either go meditate for a few minutes. And if I haven't got time to meditate, to be honest with you, I would just stand in a different room and catch my breath, put my hands on my body and take a deep breath. I'm working on letting this go. I'm choosing to let this go. I know he will eat. I trust he will eat. I trust he knows what's best for him. We can work through this together. And then go back into the room. Like, fascinating. I can already feel my energy has shifted already today. And this morning, he walked up to his food, sniffed it, walked away. I went and sat with him on the floor by the back door, hand fed him piece by piece, and he ate it. And I can already feel my energy shifting. So communicate what's happening. Be aware of your energy and step away if you need to. You know, don't do things in a rush, particularly with anxious cats. I believe that anxious cats can sense and feel energy more than normal cats, and cats are sensitive and sentient beings anyway. But I believe that anxious cats are more heightened and more aware, more alert of energy. So when you're rushing in or frustratingly getting things done, they can tell and they can feel, okay? The next one I would say is let go of control. Now, this isn't necessarily an easy one, and I share it because it's almost like a reminder to me as well that we have to let go. You know, I want him to go up to his plate of food 3 times a day, 4 times a day, depending on how hungry he is. I want him to go up to his plate of food, to sniff it, to lick it, to eat it, to clear it, right? And when that's happened, it's almost like, I can breathe. I can breathe because he's eaten. I can breathe because we're not having flashbacks to trauma time. You know, I can breathe because I know he's got food in him. He's got nutrients in him. He's got fuel in him. Like, he's okay for a few hours until the next time comes round. And that's the thing. Like, it can't be this kind of merry-go-round, you know, where it's kind of like always coming up around, always coming up around. And that's why, like, your energy and your emotional state is important. So letting go of control releases some of the pressure. Like, when I said to you, communicate, if you noticed, I caught my words. So I said to him, like, I need you to eat. That puts a lot of pressure on him. Imagine if I sat with you across the table and said, I need you to clear that plate of food, please. You know, how would that make you feel? Like, instantly, like, probably not hungry. It would for me. So recognizing that you have these needs, like, I have needs that I want met. I want him to eat his food, to clear his plate, right? And I have the opportunity to shift that. I know it's not easy, Pete, bear with me, but it is about us, and we can really help them. So if you let go of control and be open, like in this Become a Solid Cat Guardian program, we talk about probable versus possible, you know, and it's probable he's not going to want to eat it again. But if I go in with that attitude, that's not going to help either of us. Is it possible that he could have a quarter of it? Yes, absolutely. So go in with that energy. You know, be open to whatever may happen. If you could just eat something, buddy, that would be great, you know? And starting from a place of no expectations and like I said, letting go of what you want to happen and just being open to what could possibly happen. That's number 3. So I hope this is helping. Please come into the comments and let me know. I love to hear from the Naturally Cats community, and actually it'd be lovely to hear if you're also dealing with an anxious eater, because I know that I'm not alone. So come into the comments and let me know how this is resonating for you and how you're dealing with an anxious eater. The next one is be patient. Now, I actually have a tattoo on the back of my neck that is a symbol for patience, because patience is a soul lesson for me. It is a big, gnarly lesson that I am learning and living with in a lot of ways. It comes up time and time and time and time again. And it's gnarly. You know, having patience is, I'm better at it in some ways than others, and I'm better at it than I used to be, but it's still an ongoing opportunity for growth. And it's not surprising me that all of these things come with Leo, because he is my biggest teacher. And I've got a video on soul contracts. If you're not sure what that is, you should check it out, because I'm sure one of my contracts with Leo is, well, I know one of my contracts with him is surrender. And with that comes patience and acceptance and releasing control and all the good stuff. Anyway, I digress. So being patient and recognizing that they're doing the best they can. You know, Leo, like your cat, isn't not eating just to wind you up. They're not doing it to prove a point. They're not doing it because, it could be because they don't like the food, but they're not doing it to anger you or frustrate you, right? They're doing it for a reason. So yes, it could be they don't like the food. It could be that they're feeling nauseous. It could be that they're feeling anxious. So anxious cats a lot of time will go up to food, sniff it, lick their lips and walk away. that's a sign of nausea. And particularly with anxious cats, that nausea sits in the tummy. It's not at the throat, it's in the tummy. You know, like if you're going to go for like a big scary interview or do something for the first time, you feel a mixture of kind of like excitement, but also nerves. That's what's in the tummy of an anxious cat. It's churny, it's gurgly, it's noisy, it's busy, it's unsettled, it's upset. And to be honest with you, the last thing they're going to want to do at times is eat. So this is where you can help them by being patient. And it might be, like I'm doing at the moment, that you need to get on your hands and knees. And actually what I realized is that I've been frustrated because I'm like, for goodness sake, it's the same food on this plate that I'm putting in front of you pinch by pinch. Like, what the hell? Just eat it. But what I've realized is actually I'm going to shift my perspective, which comes back to number two, about your energy. And I realized that actually, do you know what? This is a beautiful opportunity for me to have an intimate moment with him. Leo's not a big cuddler. We don't have a lot of physical contact and interaction. So do you know what? If I can have presence and be with him in this moment by feeding him pinch after pinch, and I praise him when he eats them. Good job, buddy. Well done. Even if he just sniffs it, even if he licks it, I'm like, good job, buddy, you can do it. And I close my eyes for a second and I see him have that mouthful go into his body, and I open my eyes and then he's kind of like tentatively sniffing, licking, nudging it, and he eats it. So yes, it would be easier in my life for him to just go and eat 3 meals a day. But actually right now he needs a bit more TLC. He maybe needs a bit more connection with me. Maybe he needs to feel a bit more supported, emotionally held, a bit more safe and secure when he's eating. And you know what, as his guardian, it's my job to provide that. So be patient with what they need from you. And it might feel like a stretch for you with everything you've got going on. And I get that, like I truly get that. However, we chose to be their guardians and we have the duty of care to do the best that we can for them. So get on your hands and knees. I mean, I posted a picture on Instagram last week where my hand was covered in cat food. And I was like, I don't care. You know, I've had to I've had to clean my carpet in many different places and spots because that's at the moment the only place he'll eat, wherever he is. It's really random. So be patient and do what you need to do to get something in them, okay? Because as we know, cats can't really go, people say 48 hours, but I generally say 36 hours without any food in them. You know, they really need to get something in them, okay? And the last point to share, the last top tip is, it's not about you. You know, I've shared about your energy and your behavior, your attitude, your emotional state. But actually, my love, it's not about you. It's about, like I said, the fact that they're not feeling themselves. They're not feeling 100%. They're not feeling essentially safe enough to eat. And we need to find how we can support them with that. How can we help them feel safe? Do they need to eat behind the sofa? I've done that with Leo so many times. Do they need to eat under a blanket? I've done that with Leo so many times. Do they need to have a bit more one-to-one support from us and be hand-fed pinch after pinch? We're going through that right now. It doesn't really matter. What matters is we get food in them. So check yourself before you connect in, before you feed them, before you connect with them and you bring your energy to them. And remember that I know you will do whatever it takes to help them because they're your cat, they're your fur baby, they're your companion, whatever label or term you use. Remember the end goal. The end goal is to get something in them. It doesn't matter if it's not the food that you want. You know, there are times when I've given Leo dry food and we don't really feed a lot of dry food in this house, if at all. But sometimes that's been the only thing he would eat. And once he's had 3 bits of dry food, I then put a pinch of wet in front of him and he eats the wet. And we said like half and half and stuff. Again, that's been lessons in patience. That's been lessons in letting go of what I want and my control, because I want him just to eat wet food or actually raw food. But that's not what he can manage at that time. So I would invite you to shift your perspective when you're dealing with an anxious eater. Understand that they just need help and love and support, and find the best ways that you can offer that to them. When you can visualize and see them eating, when you can let your energy go, when you can shift your emotions and frustration and be really present with them and offer them nothing but love and support, I'm sure they'll clear the plate. Because when I shift all of that and sit with Leo, the other day I actually had to go and get the sachet because he wanted more, and he ate over half a sachet, which was, you know, phenomenal. So I hope this video's helped. Like I said, come into the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I've also got a playlist which is about help for anxious cats. and another one which is Help for Anxious Guardians. So check them out, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye for now.